Twitch?
No, just I'm not live, but we're recording. Recording is gone. Good, cool. Recording on. So, episode 2. Doo-doo-doo. Where did we finish last week? Roll your d20s.
With the dawn of a combat.
Oh, we've got
My roll
10.
stamps, please.
We've got 10. We've got a natural 20. Come on.
13.
13. I just bringing up the rear.
Why does my macro not work anymore?
It should.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
A
come
natural
on.
20.
There goes all your
Uh,
luck for the session.
There goes all my luck for tonight, yeah.
All your luck for tonight, yeah. So I
No,
guess
it's-
I'm the lowest with my 10.
It's just as well I don't keep a roll of the natural 20s for pre-session storytelling because that's where all the natural 20s happen apparently in our games. So, Marla, if you would like to give us a
So,
synopsis and summary of last week.
to my faulty memory, I think we started last session with us trying to consume the broth that we had created by killing that creature. And it was a difficult and interesting broth that tasted kind of weird and kind of poisonous for Thorbrand here. But my character managed to drink it without any nasty side effects, except it didn't taste all that good. Maybe next time we'll have better chances next time. But we still have some Shoggoth bark, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, yes. And then we went back to town, and our party's paladin. My character wouldn't know this, but our party's paladin had some sort of problem with the love interest he has in town, and she seems to be under some kind of contract, maybe even some kind of slavery arrangement, and she was hurt, and he was fuming basically about it. He even left a note for someone that I don't know who about her. I'm just saying this for the sake of remembering what happened. My character has no idea about these things. In any case, we had several contracts, let's say, at the Adventuring Guild that were kind of all leading to the same general direction. There's a copy of a contract for an Abyssal Scavenger, which is on me, a Drake, which I think is on Torbran. And there's a generic missing person alert that doesn't come with a reward. And they're all leading to kind of the same area, and we started traveling towards that area. We went up a mountain, I believe, and the session concluded with us just stepping into some kind of dangerous combat roll for initiative type situation. So
Oh,
that's about it.
well, picking up there as in this dark cave to set the mood. You've just been scrambling through the exterior, the damp, cold, mystical mist making its way, seeping in. The two dwarves unimpeded by the natural darkness with their dark vision, and these small glowing, I think you said they were pink, radiant butterflies just flittering
Yes,
around
yes.
these dancing orbs,
Mhm.
providing just enough light to guide your footfalls. As the narrow passageway opened out into a more wider passage and eventually leading to a winding crevasse, which, as you peered over the edge, this darkness, only darkness was looking back at you until you heard some stones falling, and as Torbjorn looked over the edge, two red, beady eyes in the dark depths were staring up back at you from a great distance away. That is what you see, Torbjorn, as your companions are stood on the edge of this cliff, looking up, trying to find the source of this stone that was echoing throughout the chamber.
Don't move. Careful, lads. Back away. Slowly.
Are we on the edge of something? Or is
Yes,
it like
you're on
the
the edge of
ground?
a cliff edge, basically.
Can we get closer to the walls? Or is that not possible?
You could step back into the passageway that you've come from that has led out onto this small platform. It's about sort of 8 feet protruded from the small entry point that you have found yourself in.
Okay.
Can I see anything other than just the eyes? Or is it just some glowing beads of potential eyes?
Are you staring into the eyes, or are you looking just past them, trying to discern out of the darkness?
As I heard the
It is
noise,
beyond
I
your
looked down.
sight. It's beyond your dark
Right,
vision.
right. All right. What color are they? Are they?
They are almost gemstone-like red.
Gemstone red. I would not. Would I recognize them as gemstones that I would be familiar with?
Make a history roll.
History.
Or in fact, I'll be rare on you. This would be to a dwarf. This could be religion as well.
Ooh, I
I'm
don't
gonna
think it
put my
matters.
dancing lights exactly where they were. Like I'm not gonna advance them or bring them back with me and step out.
Doesn't.
I myself will step back into the crevice for a bit just to be a
Okay.
bit safer than against the cliff face.
On
I
a
rolled
history
an
roll. Okay. It's quite hard to think, but as someone who's been around gemstones, gem cutting frequently in the past, you wouldn't want to put your life on it, but these two red sources of light do somewhat look like gemstones themselves. And you cannot distinguish anything else. In that depth, the light is not reflecting off anything down there.
Okay. I don't know what's down there,
None of us
but
do.
that noise paired with those glowing. They're close to each other, right? Like, like,
Oh, at this
like.
point, you could distinguish they could be like within a head of
Right.
something.
Okay. I don't know what's down there, but I don't like the look of this.
You
I
know,
What do you mean? It's just darkness down here.
you know it's beyond 60 feet of your range, because otherwise you would be able to
Mhm.
detect something, but you don't know how far down it is.
Okay. I will slowly back off from the cliff, but only if other people are going first.
I've already went inside the tunnel.
Ariel's taken a back step. Lothar was at the
Mhm.
Can
door.
I?
Yeah,
I've still
Lothar
got.
is going to sense evil again.
Sure. Go ahead and tell me what the radius is on that. Voldreth, what are you
60.
doing?
I've still got my. I'm trying to find the actual name of it. My little spectral person
Your
up.
unseen servant.
That's the one. I'm going to command it to just walk off the edge.
Okay.
Wow.
Sorry,
All right.
I just this cat in the background. Right, that's it. So as your unseen servant walks off the edge, at this point you feel the sense of their despawning, because once it leaves a certain range, it dematerializes. And it
I
rapidly hit that point after walking off the edge.
is dancing lights still up?
They are. How many orbs are there? How many butterflies?
4.
4.
And they're still staying in the same location where they were, even though I moved
Okay.
back.
So light is illuminating the exit of this tunnel, and it's illuminating stalactites overhead and
Yes.
just the sheer cliff face around you. And as you sort of do see, you would be able to perhaps make out, a bit of char on the sides of this internal surface.
I will softly speak to Ariel. Uh, Ariel, is it possible to get one of those butterflies down there? slowly.
Yeah. So the range on dancing lights is up to 120 feet, which I think is the amount of thing you can hold them at. Okay. So I'll send one of them down, and I'll send one of them up to illuminate the creature. So we have a bit of.
Right. So the creatures or this set of eyes is down below, is what he's
Yeah.
conveyed.
Is
It's
it
down below. So yeah,
is
then
it
down below.
on the cliff that I was looking down at?
Yes.
Right.
Looking
Okay,
straight back
so
Yeah.
up at you.
So
right.
I'll
So
send it
while that
down towards.
butterfly is going down, I would like to slightly look over the edge, but I would like to ready a dodge action.
Sure. Okay. As you do this, Lothar, you once again get the same sensory response, a very faint sort of evil in the presence of your companions. But no other senses come back to you.
Okay. He is going to follow Torbran's lead on this, and
So,
actually back off a little bit as well.
okay. Are you also readying a dodge action?
That would be what he would do, yes.
Okay. As you creep over the edge, butterfly descends, beginning to illuminate. And as it does, you see alongside the two red eyes, two blue ones appear. A silver, a gold, teal, a white opalish. As it continues to dive down, a chasm of different colored gemstones lie in abundance below you, illuminating no creature, but instead where it rests upon those two eyes that you saw. They are the peak of two towering stalagmites at the base of this cavern, with red gemmed tips.
You think the people back in town know about this place?
Probably not.
I wouldn't know.
I
It's
feel like it
strange
would
that
become a
it's
mine if they did.
it's strange that a place that can be mined rests so close to a city that big with nobody prospecting it.
Well,
Make
I
a
wouldn't be
perception
the
check for
most.
me as you're looking over the edge.
Who, me?
Whoever's looking over the edge, which I believe is just you at this moment.
Perception. 25.
25. As the butterflies begin to sort of fan out around the base, illuminating what is a clear 250-foot descent below you ish. You can see, which is right on the edge, sort of, that's on the edge of the visible range that they would emit going their full distance away from you, isn't it? Also, the butterflies themselves, the dancing lights. Then go 120 feet, and do they show 120 feet?
120 feet is as far as they can go. Beyond that, I would
Sure.
be able to
Okay,
control
but
them.
then it's how much they illuminate afterwards, and with their light bouncing
They,
off.
they only illuminate up to 10-foot radius, like
Oh
a
right,
torch.
okay. So
Small.
out of the darkness, there's still a great deal unseen on this floor cavern, but you can see
Yeah.
a great descent below you. But there is untapped natural veins here of exquisite magnitude. However, as you do look across, something catches your eye with that 25 perception check. You can see a caught knotted rope on one of these peaks, and you can see dangling from it the remains of some kind of torso.
Oh man.
Hmm. There's no sign of life beside other than us.
No.
Yet
As
we
you sort
did
of
hear
move again, another as you realize another stone falls off the edge of this cliff edge that you're standing upon. Just a small pebble.
Well, I wouldn't be the greediest dwarf when it comes to minerals. Seeing all these gems would probably fill me with a bit of awe. I don't think I've ever seen this many gems before. This almost reminds me of our own mines back when we started. New veins are always exciting.
Why is this place not prospected yet? There's no way people haven't run into it.
It's easy to get lost in the fog outside.
Well, we might as well keep pushing, right?
How? You wanna try descend this?
We've gone this far, haven't we?
How would we get down there?
Didn't you guys said you had some rope?
Well, looking down there, I'm not sure if I'm gonna trust a simple rope. Clearly, even though this is untapped, we're not the first people to be here, and it didn't
If we
end so
were
well for that fellow down there.
if we were to push against the cliff face, would that eventually lead down?
Yeah, it's a sheer drop below you, but it does eventually slope outwards.
Okay. So we could just be careful, maybe tie a rope around each other and just go down the cliff face. See how explore it that way without descending abruptly.
Looks like you'll need a good 100 feet of rope to make most of that descent before the slope begins to form an incline.
How long is a normal hempen rope?
I believe it's either 20 or 50.
50.
Yeah, 50 feet. Well, we have a couple of those.
Yeah, I have one.
I think are we still attached to those ropes, or did we put them off?
No, you're still tied to each other.
Is there something that we could use around us as anchor?
As you look about, the first thought is Voldreth might make a good anchor. Nah, don't be silly. Just make a quick investigation check. As you're looking for some kind of sturdy, loose rock or crevice that you could tie around. 18. You find some loose juncture protrudes out a little bit at the side of the wall. Doesn't fill you with immense confidence, but it's your only option here.
Can I use stone cunning to check whether it would be strong enough to hold a
Do you want
dwarf's
to
weight?
read what that is for me?
I believe it's advantage on a specific
It's
check.
a
Let me check.
history check with advantage, I think, on something pertaining to stone.
Yes, intelligence history check for the origin of stonework.
I would say, without you needing to roll, you would be fairly confident this would support one person's weight at a time. Certainly yours. You don't know about everybody else's. And looking at Ariel, lighter than you. Voldreth, perhaps a little bit more rotund than yourself. Lothar, oh, big strong man in heavy mail. You're not sure. You don't think it will go. Give. Sorry, you don't think it will give.
Well, I did say Ariel would make good bait when I met her. How would you feel about going first?
Sure. But I need light to see.
You have
She'll
dancing
recast
lights.
dancing lights. She'll recast dancing lights and go right ahead.
Okay. Do you
Hmm.
swan dive off the edge of this, or do you slowly lower yourself down?
Yes, elegantly. Wee. No, not quite wee, but I slowly drop off.
As you do.
She's really spooked in this situation. Like she's like,
Okay.
before she was sure she had seen a creature with those beady eyes, and
Mhm.
she's creeped out.
I would like you to make, as you descend, a perception check, please, as you are going down. Who would
Oh my
now
god.
be holding on to the rope? I'd say two of you would be helping the descent, and there would be a third person at the back. Who would not be involved in this abseiling exercise?
Lothar would certainly help with keeping the rope where it is and keep watch to see whether anything is trying to swoop on whoever's going down.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can cast
I would
perception
be at
with
the edge, probably with my gun at the ready.
Okay.
I'll have my guidance on with my
Okay, so a
perception check
14 then.
because I
Okay.
can do that. Yeah.
So, Voldreth, can you make a wisdom saving throw for me? As we'll have you at the back then. As Ariel. Ooh, natural
Oh,
20.
Ooh, goddamn.
Okay. Voldreth, you feel this cold touch come over you. And then just like a experienced veteran waking up in sun-dew laden grass, you just sort of shrug it off your shoulders. Just think no more of it. Ariel, as you
yes.
descend, 14, the lights flicker and shine around you, and as you sort of look around, as you slowly turn on this rope as you abseil down, you can see this cliff face itself. Just this sheen visible in the rock face. These thin, like snail-like lines of different colors of metals and ores running throughout all the rocks in this spiderweb of natural beauty. And as you begin to descend, you reach the tallest tips of these stalagmites approaching you and greeting you, as between the two that you first saw as these red gemstones, you see these gemmed peaks as you come into contact with them. And as you slowly descend, you realize this is no singular crowning jewel perched on the edge of these mites. These stalagmites are entirely made out of ruby gemstone. As you
Ooh.
begin to grab onto one to finish your descent, 10, 15, 20 feet in height before your feet touch the floor from the top of the stalagmite, as it protrudes out from its peak. The entire thing either cased in ruby gemstone or is ruby gemstone.
I try not to pick any of the stones because I'm spooked. I'm really thinking that if I grab any of the stones, something bad will happen. I've heard enough fairy stories to know how that goes. So she won't be touching anything with the intent of picking it up. But she will signal, like she'll pull on the rope a little bit and she'll signal that she's reached the ground.
Okay,
If you guys want to come down as well.
there's a tug on the rope.
Yeah.
Right,
Uh,
who's next?
I don't mind going next. Will you
Okay.
be good up here with two of you?
I'll live.
We'll be fine.
Um, I will double check that the rope is still secure, and if it is, I will start making my descent downwards.
Sure. And with your experience, double check the knots. A-okay. Absolutely fine. As you begin to slowly descend, you also too experience as the dancing lights, I assume, have been adjusted to allow you to see or are you using all of them to explore your immediate surroundings, Ariel?
I would light the actual rope descent right now.
Okay.
They can be within 20 feet of each other. So
Right. So illuminated, you too see this sprawling network of natural ores and colours. And to you, for a split second, it's almost like in writing? Nah. The thought just crosses your mind.
The gemstones, you mean?
Yeah. Just the natural paths as they take and shimmer through the rock themselves.
Okay.
As you descend uneventfully and to find the bottom of this large ruby-like pillar stalagmite.
I will give another tug on the rope just to tell them I'm down.
All right, Voldreth. Up next, I'll go last.
Aye, Captain. I'll put my shield back on my back and then climb down the rope.
Okay. As you two make a perception check as you descend, please. That's fine. You
amazing.
can see the wonders of this natural beauty before you, just as the other two. Lothar, as you feel another tug on a rope, you also feel like this cold touch of a presence behind you.
Sense evil.
Okay. As you get this feeling,
Or good. I mean, it
you
senses
you
either.
you open your heart to the surroundings. You feel this overwhelming good within 10 feet of you, followed by an overbearing sense of evil in the same location. Before it goes
Might want to.
and vanishes as you sort of begin to turn.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. Of course. We can't have a easy descent down a cliff nobody's been down before, can we? And he slowly starts to make his way down the rope afterwards.
Sure. Can you add a point of sanity, please, to your meter?
Oh, right. I didn't tell you how many of those I have. I'll add mine too. And
So,
it goes like the more sanity you have, the more insane you are, or is it vice versa?
that's for me to. You all start at 0 as newborn. That's how it works, and it's
No, but you told
progressively.
us that we can set it to a certain value
You
ourselves.
can, yes. It's an.
Okay.
You are more worldly experienced the higher the number, and it also means you faced more evils and things that would test your sanity. It's not necessarily a scorecard of number of events. It's more a metric of how both resilient your
Okay.
mind might be, but also how exposed to its corruption you could be as well.
How would that work? I also subtracted a couple of times because we
Yep.
did a little discussion about that.
Yep.
Where multiple of the same experience, getting comfortable with a experience that previously would add
Yeah.
sanity might lower sanity down the line.
Yes. Yeah. It's a state of well-being that you are currently at, effectively.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's repairable, but not all damage is repairable.
Yeah.
And so the whole party is collected at the base of this cliff face as the darkness begins to unfurl before you. Led by the dancing lights, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once
Is
everyone
the
is down, I'll light our immediate surrounding with the dancing lights.
Okay.
how close is the corpse of that previous
From where you are, you
adventure?
have two large ruby stalagmites in front of you that you've
Mm-hmm.
landed behind. On the other side of those, there is a pillar there seems to be sort of like a core towering part that lumbers up that was just out of vision range, so about sort of 50 feet away from where you'd been stood previously. As you can see, this just ascends all the way up out of sight. And around this pillar, you can see a very clear, thick rope, and a huge amount of rope has been tied around it, to which the torso of a human is still hung, with an arm outstretched, still tied, hanging, grasping onto this rope.
How high up is that
It's about
torso?
20 feet up into the air from the floor.
20 feet. Any signs of a struggle or wounds or...
With the obvious, as you look at it, as the light shines and reveals just the general gore of exposed blood, torn, dripping down beneath, lining this pillar. You don't see any other exposed limbs, no entrails, just almost like it was hung here, either as a deterrent or a trophy. You're not sure.
I don't like the look of that.
It's terrible.
I wonder what did that to him.
Can name you a dozen things just off the top of my head.
Really?
Already known to live in a gem-filled cave.
Don't think you lived here,
Hmm.
but I'd wager something does, so let's
You
keep
think it
quiet
was one
and
of the people that were missing?
this close to the Golden Keep, I doubt it. Probably somebody else.
The pathway up the mountain, was that like staired or was it more
You
gentle?
found
Yeah.
that path. It was not well traversed.
Okay. Hmm,
And you did find it with some bloody good rolls.
true. Can I see if the torso is held up by just the rope?
Sure. How do you get close to it? It's 20 feet in the air.
No, like, do I see if it's only held up by rope?
Oh yeah, it looks like, there's almost this rigor mortis grasp within the arm that's holding onto the rope itself. So the rope, as you can see at this point, is tied around underneath both arms, around the torso, and lingering up the arm as well. So whether this was
Hmm,
done to them post-death or this was what they had already tied themselves to, you're not sure.
okay.
We should keep moving. The more we just stay here, the easier it's going to be for anything to zero in on us.
I agree. How are we gonna make sure that we can find our way back?
Keep to the cliff face. If it's just a circular cavern, we're going to eventually circle back here.
There may be other exits.
True, but if we do find one, we're going to mark it.
Okay.
I'm assuming you've got some form of chalk or pencil on you. Anything we can use to mark our exit down the cave.
Mm, we can probably figure something out.
How long does a torch stay lit?
Couple of hours.
1 hour, according to this.
That's what I was thinking
But
too,
if
that
you
we
light
could
two at the same time, that's twice as long.
Hmm,
I can
Yeah,
mark some rocks with my hammer.
that could work. I will also draw some arrows on the side of the wall with just a loose pebble that I see
Okay. You pick up a
as
small
we go along.
pebble. As you do, you sort of scrape it in, and you realize there's this sharp edge to this pebble. As you look down, you've just picked up a handful size of what could either be quartz or diamond. You're not quite sure.
Is the ground filled with it, or is it on closer inspection? Was it just like a random lucky grab?
As you look at it, just looks like sheet, sleet, and debris. This seems to be the only one that you found.
Is it see-through? Is it translucent
It is
in any
translucent,
way?
yeah.
Would I be able to determine if it's diamond based on the hardness of scratching?
Yes. So if you were to test it, you're not quite sure what happened, whether you transferred the like as if it was chalk. If you had transferred the chalk to the side of the cave, then this would
Or
probably be
scratch?
quartz. Whereas if you
Mhm.
had permanently defaced the cave, this would probably be a
Mhm.
stronger solid.
So which of the two happened when I scratched in the arrow?
As you pass your hand over them, you realize the debris dust is off,
Okay.
and
No
you
diamonds for us.
no, the debris dusts away, leaving a strong indentation in the markings you made.
Oh. I will put this in my backpack.
It's about the size of your hand, and dwarves are big hands.
Yeah.
Strong pebble added to inventory. ×1.
Strong pebble diamond question mark.
So, as the lights
All right.
begin to illuminate your path forward, could I have a marching order of the group, please?
I don't
Can we
mind going
continue
first.
the order we had? I think Sir Lothar was at the end. I was third or second.
I'll go towards the backs so I can like hit my
Okay, so
hammer
I'll be
against the
second.
rock faces to like mark where we've been every
Okay.
so often.
All right.
Are we going wall on our left hand or wall on our right hand?
You tell me.
Is there any wind coming from anywhere? Is there any draft?
Other than the occasional toot from Lothar, nothing.
All right.
And then you realize that's just gaps in his shoes. Or so he says.
Right. Guess we're just gonna pick a side and go there.
Might as well go left.
Sure.
Sure. So as the party passes onward into darkness, you come across more stalagmites. One of gold, one of silver, one of luminescent teal as it shines in the darkness as your lights glance over it.
I should mark this place on the map.
And then one that is more slightly translucent. And Ariel, I think you would be stunned in silence for a second as you would see inside this more translucent material, as inside this crusted gemstone structure, reaching out towards the surface from within, is just a human arm with its hand outstretching.
Oh my god. That's so creepy.
Is it a gem encrusted person?
No, so this mountain of about 15 feet tall stalagmites And as the light passes through it, you just see within it embedded is a human arm,
Oh,
sort of in this pose, with its hands outstretched.
And what kind of gemstone is this?
It looks somewhat translucent. It's quite hard to define. It's almost as if it's not yet finished taking color, as it's slightly yellowed at the bottom and almost beginning to become blue at the top.
Oh,
Do we
wow.
see any rest, like any more parts of the body, or is it just the hand?
You just see the arm at this point, but this is a large structure. As you pace your way through, it's very murky towards the center of this. It's just what's visible towards the surface.
Any objections if I try and get them out?
I'm just
I'm not
worried
sure
about
there's
what
an. I'm not sure there's an
yeah.
entire person there.
I'm also not sure what would happen if we actually tamper with the metals and gemstones. We can try if you think we're willing to take the risk, but
is it possible to get a rough idea of what race it could have been from or creature?
The hand, it
Is
looks
it
human.
okay? Hmm. I say we keep moving.
So at this point,
I'd
I
say the
would like
same.
all of you to make a dexterity saving throw, please. As a rumble throughout the cavern, almost like a footfall, very distant, or a movement of landslide, but it echoes and rumbles as the rush fills the cavern, echoing around you before once again silence. Everybody who rolled lower than a 10, you fall either backwards or lose your balance and touch whatever's nearby. You either fall sideways or backwards, it's up to you.
I lose my balance. I don't mind touching the thing
Okay.
even as I fall,
As you
but
sort of end up crusting onto this gemstone, what you would have anticipated to be cold, solid, metallic kind of feel is actually wet to the touch and almost semi-solid, as if it's not fully hardened.
really like creepy.
As you push off, the rest of your party come to your feet, regain your balance. Echo throughout the chamber finally comes to an end. Do you press on?
Yep.
Let's keep moving. Don't want to stay in one place for too long.
As you continue with more piles here and there, as the cave itself seems to meander before you find yourself coming into what clearly is a large clearing, and you no longer see these mounds. The light of your torch begins to dim.
Ah, not again.
And it puffs out. As you just see in this space, this low, lingering mist. Those of you with dark vision around you to left and right, you've opened and stumbled upon a large interior cavern. The ceiling you cannot see, the walls scuffed, scraped, not smooth. No scarring that you could see, but a cold look to them, an aged look. As this low-lying mist stands at about sort of Lothar's waist and almost to the necks of the dwarves. It's almost like a dust cloud that's just residually, slowly lingering.
Is it moving in a direction, or is it just
As you sort of
stationary?
interrupted upon it, it seems to be displaced by your movements, and it creates a little bit of a current just in the air, like dust lingering in a cold day in the sunlight.
It's kind of odd for dust to just exist in a cloud. You would think, undisturbed, it would fall to the ground.
And it would probably rise if it gets disturbed. I think we might have stirred something, so let's keep moving and keep your eyes peeled.
Is this right after the little earthquake?
This is earthquake happened about sort of like halfway through the torch's life.
Right, and now the torch
And
is
now the
gone.
torch has gone out, and you find this cavern. So you're about an hour since you touched the bottom of this cave.
The dust should have settled by now.
Can I look at the walls to see if there's any like human or man-made like structure towards it?
Sure, make a masonry check, Master Dwarf, if you
Can
want
I help
to.
him with that?
With your I would say with your make a wisdom check and roll with advantage. It's just a d20 and add your wisdom. Yeah.
That's a save. Never mind. Ignore that. Okay, there we go.
Oh, nice.
With another natural 20, you would become aware, and it's at first glance, natural 20, man. At first glance, this looks like a natural cave. And then as you sort of run your hand around the wall, you pick up the outlines of a large brick. Not just an individual brick part of some masonry. And then natural wall once again. And as you look around, you realize as the dancing lights, do you reignite them? You recast them to illuminate this chamber?
Yeah.
As
I
you,
don't have any lighting beyond that, so I
no
need it.
problem. So as you illuminate and one of the butterflies flies past, you see it illuminate this intertwined, lopsided sort of frontage of some kind of building, but it's meshed together and all sort of scrambled, and you can see higher up, just towards the edge of the light, you can see almost like the beginnings of what could be another building stacked and adjusted. It's almost like, to describe the visual would be as if a landslide had shifted multiple buildings and they were stacked upon each other at odd angles. But then this cave had come and hollowed out to produce this exterior of intricate masonry design or natural causes. As you look up,
Can I use my stone cunning to check to see if I know like the origin of the stonework?
sure, go ahead. Is that a history roll with advantage?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, 17. You would detect pretty old, couple of 100 years old, human masonry architecture. That of pre-ruination, and just almost what you would decide is probably that of a simple settlement. Nothing grandiose. But as you look around, it is lining all of these walls along this cavern as you sort of begin to walk in a circle around it. You get to the halfway, continue, and you come back and you realize you've entered into a circular dead end, as you will. As you sort of look up, there is a small speck of light protruding from the ceiling, very high above you. It looks like natural light.
No signs of a doorway,
Yeah.
windows.
Can
What
we
is the
interact with
purpose
these
of this
buildings,
place?
approach them, visit them? So
Should we try and
I want us to get closer to the buildings and see if we can understand anything when we look at them.
Sure. One building looks like a house. You can see a door entryway. You can see two windows left and right of it, almost like a standard entry of a single floored abode, though stuck at a 45-degree angle 20 feet into the air.
Yeah, I would try to get to it, open it, explore it.
But it's what I'm saying is its doors and windows completely filled in with this natural rock. It's just the
Ah, okay.
masonry that is visible in this cabin.
Oof. I see.
what happened here?
No idea.
Maybe it was the earthquakes.
What was this place anyway back in the day?
Could have been anything. Anything could have been anything back in the day.
Torbran, with your passive perception,
Mm-hmm.
you sense some movement behind your party in the chamber of the gemstone piles.
Stay together. We're not alone. I will draw
As
my
he says
weapon.
that, I'll ready my shield.
And Lothar would draw his sword and shield as well.
Yeah.
I will ready my gun and I will duck in this fog, but
Mm-hmm.
just my eyes being able to sort of glance over top of it.
Okay, well, it already comes up to your neck, so you don't have to adjust your stature.
Sure.
So, as as the characters play out on webcam, you can
Oh
see
man.
this. Oh, there we go.
So funny. That's
As
so funny.
oh god, it's like Lord of the Rings watching the different camera angles, you know. So as the dwarf takes his aim and his focus, you can hear this soft footfall. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost with an eagerness to it.
Is it speeding up?
In fact, it was going quickly and then it slowed down. As you can now all begin to hear a panting.
Creepy.
Does it sound humanoid?
I don't even know what to ask you to roll.
Perception.
Does a sound create a race, a species? I don't know.
Does it belong to a race?
I mean,
It
there's a
sounds
difference between what a
large.
beast would sound like and what a human would sound like. So if I
Sure.
heard a human panting, I'd recognize it as a human
It
panting.
sounds large, it sounds laboured, and it sounds, if anything, excited.
Yes. Lothar would slowly make his way to the front of the group, shield and sword ready, and brace himself for anything throwing itself at them. So, dodge, action preemptively.
Okay.
I will slowly crouch backwards as Sir Lothar is passing me, and I will cast Animate Pebble.
Okay.
Animate pebble.
As you see me grab a little rock from my pouch, and I will lob it through this smoke, through this mist, but low to the ground so that it doesn't make too much noise, but far enough away that the first time it hits the ground, it's at least 15, 20 feet away from me towards the sound of the creature.
Okay.
Is it? How far roughly, if possible, is this sound coming from?
It's echoing from the previous chamber.
Okay. How large is the opening to the circular room
The
that we are in right
height,
now?
as you look up, it's beyond your dark sight. But most of the chamber has been almost ceiling level.
Mhm.
The height of this
Okay.
cavern unknown. You are, in essence, from knowledge of the outside, you are inside the inner workings of one of the peaks of this range, hollowed with towering spires of supporting natural beams.
How wide is the opening? Like the
A
entrance
good
opening to our
15, 20
circle?
feet.
Okay. I will throw that pebble towards the opening as I cast Animate Pebble while I throw it.
So, landing almost in a 3-point superhero pose, your pebble stands up, looks around. Which direction does it run off to? Towards the sound or away from the sound?
Yes, it cannot be further than 30 feet away from me, so I will park it roughly 25 feet between me and where the sound is coming from.
Okay. As it runs around the corner, out of sight, stops. Running back around the corner, as you do see, you see this dark mass bounding after it, landing straight on top of your pebble. What you all see before you is a hulking mass of ore, flesh, and scale. Visible to you on this side, two large muscular legs supporting this rotund mass, almost like salamander, with two small wings on the rear of its body and a short tail curling around. As this drake-like mouth sniffs and turns in your direction. Snout sniffing the air. Pebble runs from beneath the head as it was lifted. The snout snaps after it but misses. Losing
Is it
interest.
around the corner?
No, it's in sight.
Shoot.
It's right in front of you now.
Shoot now.
Yeah, I will ready my gun. And I will wait, let me check. I need my spell list. Is it inside the
It's now in the
opening?
square of the opening for you, this creature.
Okay. I will shoot a web grenade. It's a tar grenade. I
Okay.
will grab my mortar and I will load it with a shell that I infuse with a magical tar.
So I'd have to
I
ask,
will
when you fire your weapons, is there sort of like a spark and a flintlock as gunpowder releases its payload?
probably, yes.
As you pull the trigger.
Oh, you mean like a slow flintlock?
Yes.
No, they are. Think of them as modern shells, at least for the spell shells. So
Sure. So
there
they
is a
release.
there is a flash, but it's not like a timed fuse.
Fair enough. As the light emits and the Payload is flung towards the target.
Yeah, I will aim at the wall.
Okay.
So the description is you shoot a magical tar netted grenade which explodes on impact, creating a mass of thick, sticky tar netting at a point of your choice within range. I will explode it midair in the center of the passageway.
Okay.
The tar netting fills a 20-foot cube from that point for the duration. Tar netting is difficult terrain and lightly obscure the area. If it isn't anchored, which it will be between the walls, it creates a 20-foot cube of difficult terrain.
And almost like in an instant, Torbran has unleashed almost like a black ichor-like spider web that just fills the entrance to this left to the right side as this creature turns,
If
looks
it's
in your direction towards
if
the
it's
group.
inside the webbing, if that hit, it has to make a dex save or be restrained for as long as it remains in the tar netting
Okay.
or until it breaks free.
What's the DC? It's exploded right above it, so it's in the center of it. What's the DC?
Yeah. DC 14 dex save.
A 14. It's not very dexterous. No, okay. So as you watch as this ichor lands, it's pinned to the side of the cave and then drops and labors itself all over the back of this creature. Can we all roll initiative, please, as we engage in this combat properly now?
Let me deduct a spell.
Initiative.
One
We have got
initiative.
Torbran. We have got Aldrich. We have got Lothar. And then we have Ariel. So, creature is not very dexterous. And rolled poorly. Little bit better than one of you, though. So, Torbran, as you let loose this webbing in your surprisingly surprise round, combat starts. What do you wish to do?
Is it possible to see the creature better now?
No,
Or
worse. In fact, you've just coated it in a slimy black ichor, so to distinguish anything about it, it's probably a bit harder. Though you do get the sense that its head movements, I would say, would be driven by its snout.
Okay.
As it's growling, facing your general direction.
Let's see. What exactly does restrain do again?
It limits its movement, if I remember.
Speed is 0. Attack rolls against it have advantage. Creature's attack rolls have disadvantage. The creature has disadvantage on dex saves. That's what I wanted to know. How far away was it?
I don't know how far away into this room did you guys all traverse? It's a large circular cave, probably about 60 feet in diameter.
So Babel couldn't be further than 30 feet away, so I would probably be roughly.
That puts you about 20 feet
one.
into the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I will move up to. How close is he in the netting?
He is in the center of the doorway. So if you
Right,
exploded
okay.
it there, he's like in the center of your explosion range.
Okay. I will just shoot at him then.
Sure thing.
Which would be this. Oh god. That's a double crit?
Oh my god.
There goes all my luck for the day.
It is well spent.
So if you guys want to move your characters on the map just to get your position, your formation in this large circular cave, don't worry about scenery. I'm just going to find just a placeholder for you.
I can't move my actual token, but I can move the second
Oh, okay.
one.
So use that one then.
So, yeah, just there we go.
Give ownership, please.
Goodness me, I thought I'd set this all up. Why don't you have ownership of this? I dragged it from.
Yeah. Dum dum dum.
Is your sheet set up, by the way?
Yes.
If I double click your character, you've got 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 in the stats.
That is impossible.
Okay, well,
I've got.
we'll fix again outside the session then. I don't know how to assign this to you. Sorry, right, we're in the middle of combat. So where did you? Oh my god, double natural 20.
Yeah, I just wasted all my luck for today.
Oh my god. Okay.
What crit roll are we doing? Just normal roll double dice?
Just normal. So normal double die or
Okay.
double the score, whichever your choice is.
So that would be 40, 10 plus 4. That's 25 damage.
Wow.
But what are you firing? What are you firing with? Sorry.
Slug.
Which would
The
fire the
singular long
gun.
range.
To fire the gun would require a spark. Yes.
Yes, all my avalanche auto attacks are spark and also very loud.
So what I will say is this:
Delightful.
because you rolled a natural 20, the shot goes off. The bullet finds its mark, and then you hear this sizzling in the gun as you see in your black powder reacting negatively in the mist.
Oh god.
Any other roll, you would have realized that the gun didn't fire. On a natural 20, it somehow persists through. As is the nature of all natural 20s, I win buttons. Your shot goes off. Go ahead and roll. You've rolled the damage, 25 points as the slug sinks into the thick bodily underside of this creature that is sort of still facing you.
As it hits, I would actually like to use my subclass feature to make it a fragmentation round, causing it to add shrapnel once it hits for 1d6 extra damage.
Go ahead and roll damage.
That's 3 extra damage.
3 more damage as you watch it collides and impact and then splits and jettisons even wider, impacting the underside of this creature. As you get this mellowed, this pained expression and cry that echoes throughout this cave. That's a lot of damage.
I will try to fire my gun again as the extra attack, but I will jump. I will jump during the shot.
I will give you disadvantage if you're shooting whilst moving then.
Sure, then it would be normal because we have advantage from the restraint.
You do.
So that would be enough. God damn it.
I can't believe that.
Nice.
And it was a natural 20 and a natural 1. You just did your luck adorable.
Oh man.
That's amazing.
Oh, the 5% fantastics. Okay. That's one.
That's another 15. Well, I mean, I rolled pretty bad on the damage, so it compensates. It's 15 damage.
It's okay.
Another 15 damage. Is this another shrapnel round, or is that once per turn?
No, I can only do that once per turn.
That's one per turn. So as the second bullet sticks into the same side or another part of the creature, where were you aiming?
I generally aim for the heart for creatures.
Okay, you're not familiar with the anatomy of this, but you are aiming for the underside of it. You're instinctively adverse, as you did see the thicker scales on the top. So, though you realize now as you're shooting, you can just see like this gleam of ore-crusted belly. As to where a weakness is, you're not quite sure. Do you go through the ores on the underside, or do you go for the scales on the top? You put 2 rounds into the underside for now. That's a lot of damage. 40 points of damage on round 1. Any movement bonus actions?
do I have as bonus action? So I jumped, which would be 5 feet of movement. I will not use my bonus action for now because I'm gonna have to find out what I would have to use it on. I will just move closer to... Where's Lothar compared to me? Are you next to me?
I would be in front to the side so you can have a clear shot.
Okay, yeah. So I would be 5. I will move so I'm 5 feet diagonally next to Lothar. And I will end my turn there.
Okie dokie. Next up, we have Voldra.
Okie dokie. So I will cast Guiding Bolt onto the creature.
Sure thing. A 13, unfortunately, bounces off as the bolt is released. It bounces and ricochets off the thick, scaled hide of the creature, unfortunately.
Okie doke. Just check my spell slots quickly. If I've got enough for this one, I don't think I do.
Where is the
I do
creature
not.
relative to us?
No, on the screen north of you, but in the game facing you,
Still far away. Okay.
20
Yeah.
feet away from you guys. Sorry, 10, at
Okay.
least 15 feet away from you guys. I'm just gonna put this guy here for now.
Yeah.
As a placeholder. There you go.
Yeah.
Looks friendly.
Okay. So I will just move slightly closer along like the wall I'm currently on, so north,
Sure thing.
like 20 feet.
Mhm.
It's about there, and I'll end my turn because I've got no spell slots for my bonus action.
Okay, no problem. Lothar.
Okay. You said the creature is restrained currently, right?
It is in this thick tar-like webbing that seems to be coating its exterior, and it's struggling to move.
Assuming it's in the center, it would be, depending on how large the creature is, it's either 5 or 10 feet of webbing between the edge of the webbing and the creature.
Mhm.
Yeah, in that case, just dodge and turn. Stick to the party. Be ready to intervene in case it gets close.
Okay. So, as the creature as it opens and rears its head as its frustration, as it can't move, points its nostrils in the direction of whatever it's smelling. Straight to you, Torbran. Can you make a dexterity saving throw, please? And this would also affect Ariel and Salofa.
Okay.
Great.
And since I'm dodging, I'm assuming I've got advantage.
You do. Okay.
15.
15 was the DC. On a successful DC, Salofa, you just have this gut instinct. Oh no, I need to move. Even though you just took this defensive position, you dive out the way to your left. You escape unhurt. Though, as you do dive, you look behind you as this stream of gold and red and silver liquid, almost like molten ore, is vomited in a 30-foot cone in front of it, catching your two companions. On a failed save, you are covered head to toe in this hot, sticky, molten crystal-like substance, which almost as soon as it's exposed to this cold mist-like substance, it begins to harden around you.
You
You
and
all
also fucking spooky.
you both take 6 points of fire damage and 6
Okay.
points of bludgeoning damage. And you're currently knocked prone. As head to toe you are dipped in this hot ore, basically. It unfortunately can't move, and it's already used its bonus action. So that's the end of the creature's turn as it's snarling, restraining, and pulling on its entrapment. Ariel, it's your turn.
Yes. Um, I will first use a spiritual weapon as a bonus action.
Okay.
So I'll just make it public here. It is, let me roll it. Spiritual weapon, cast at second level. That's just the damage, sorry.
Let me
Here's the
make
roll.
a concentration save, actually.
I assume 26 hits, it's 12 force damage.
It does.
Nice. And then with my main
I think I make it.
my main attack, I'll use Toll the Dead on the
Sure.
creature. You need to make a
Concentration, yes, you're fine.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's the second
It's already
damage
taken
roll.
damage.
If you
9 points of necrotic. Okay.
if
So,
it doesn't make the DC 16 Wisdom save.
12. So no. Okay.
Okay, that's all from me.
As the spectral bell
Um,
dongs, it
The
echoes.
spiritual weapon should appear right here, and it looks like a double-bladed, basically like two scimitars that are bound at the center, and along the hilts of it there are roses and fairies. I can draw it, but I'll draw it at some other time. I'll draw it, I promise. But it's pretty. Trust me.
What color
But
is it?
yeah.
What's the big color?
It's kind of the same tone as everything. So like in the center, it's really, really white, and then as it radiates outside, it's pinkish, yellowish. Sometimes sort of like those. You may have seen AI art like this. It's like white with iridescent colors through it.
Yes.
That's kind of the effect.
Okay.
So it's like that.
So you would notice as it appears and materializes in front of it, the creature seemingly pays it no mind. Seems unperturbed by this thing materializing right before it.
Hmm.
Still fixated and frustrated at its restraints.
Yeah, makes sense.
Top of the round.
I wish I could move. We can't move, right? We're prone.
Oh, sorry. You can attempt to move. I
Okay,
will
so
need you to make an athletics
I'll get
check.
up first.
I'll need
Okay,
you to
I'll
make
get
an
up
athletics
first.
check to attempt to move.
Okay, making an athletics check.
DC is 12.
Cool.
So
So I get up then and I move 3 feet away, 15 feet away, sorry. That's
yes.
how much.
Okay. So as you get
So
up,
we're not all together.
you move deeper into the circular chamber, away from this creature. You see, already sharded and crusted on the floor is the silhouette of where you were previously prone, and this substance is sticking and hardening to your clothing and your skin
Oh
that it
my
has been exposed to.
This substance is creepy. Moving on. My turn is over.
Top of the round. Torbrand, you're prone
Oh,
in hot sticky glue. What do you wish to do?
standing up is an athletics check, right?
Yes.
Let's start with that. Athletics. That is a 6.
Unfortunately, it seems to have dried a little bit quicker around you. Exposure to this mist, perhaps.
Can I use a bonus action to help?
You're 15 feet away. On your turn, perhaps you might be able to assist breaking him free. You watch as Torbjorn struggles and he's not even able to make himself unprone. Your arms are free, but you aren't able to right yourself.
I will just shoot in the general direction of this beast.
Okay. I would say you no longer have the advantage. That is still you're prone. You
It
don't have
balances off,
super
yeah.
sound. It balances. It's a normal shot.
Yeah. Slug.
As
That's
you
a
attempt to fire, you look down and see your gun too is crusted in this contamination vomit, and now it won't spark to make its round.
Okay. I will then. I will draw my hand axe. Can I throw from prone?
You can. I will say it would have been disadvantage, but you had advantage, so it's a straight throw.
Sure. I will throw my hand axe towards where I would think the creature still is.
Okay.
21.
Hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
2.
as the axe
I have dealt damage this turn.
as the axe
Dealt
is thrown, ping, dong, 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 as it just sort of bounces off the scales of the creature. The creature looks around. 2 points of damage. As you're unable to move, your bonus action used, and your action done. Voldreth, it is your turn.
How far away am I from the web at the minute?
You're probably 15 feet away from the web itself that's spanning the gap in this cavity, or the entrance to this chamber that you're in at the moment.
If I walk to the edge of the web, can I touch the creature?
You could, if you want to move stealthily, make a stealth roll for me. Or if you're just running at the creature, you can go ahead and do that.
I'm just going to run at him.
Sure thing. With the battle cry, or?
Nah, he's just going to be running there.
As you run up to it, go ahead, and what do you do? As you reach out and touch the surface of the
I'm
creature.
going to try and touch it and cast Inflict Wounds.
Okay. Is that a spell DC? Or is that an attack
It's
roll?
attack roll.
Go ahead and make your attack roll. A 20 hits. Go ahead and roll damage. Oh. Is it in there? No? Okay. Let's go ahead and
You
roll
need to
damage.
click the inflict wounds on the there's a red button. It hovers red when you click over it. There you go.
12 necrotic damage. As this creature, it's preoccupied previously with the axe bouncing off it, and as soon as you touch it, it recoils in horror in that direction before its snout, with a great inhale, redirects its head towards you, Voldreth. As you would have been here.
Can I ready my shield to block?
You can raise it, but you've already used your action, so.
And I'm just stood here then with my shield raised.
Okay. Expecting retaliation. Lothar, you have a
Okay,
prone dwarf and another dwarf taking the creature head on.
Okay, would I need an action or a bonus action to help the dwarf back up?
Probably a bonus action to make that decision, or an action just to do it.
I'm just gonna do it.
Okay, so it probably costs your action if you're going to attempt to help him break free.
Mm-hmm.
So I need you to make an acrobatics check, not an acrobatics, an athletics check for him to try and pull him up out of this casing. With a 23, that will. Jesus, what is this? Level 5 superheroes, bloody hell! As you rip him out, you hear the shattering of like gemstone being crushed as you peel him out of this like velcroed, contaminated sludge that's now
Appreciate it.
solidifying around where he was, and there is now a perfectly outlined Torburn hole in the floor.
Never knew I was that fat.
Oh.
All dwarves are fat.
Is that a short joke? Someone
I know they say keep your feet on the ground, but they don't mean it this literally.
Brilliant. So, as your action, you pull your friend free. That puts you here.
Okay, and I'm going to use some of my movement to move a bit closer to the creature, like in case someone might ping.
If you want to go into melee of it, it's here.
No, not just yet. I don't want to give it a target just yet,
Okay,
and I want to give a clear shot.
sure thing. So, as you ready your shield, your conditioning, you're ready to take on this beast. It's still preoccupied with the inflicted wounds, and the creature is now going to roll to see if it gets its breath weapon back. Okay. As it centers its head in your direction, Voldreth, it's going to make a attack roll towards you as it lunges, although the rest of its body is held back by this trap. A great mass moves, snaps in your direction, is then slung back by this tar trap that you have in place. Ooh, does a 19 hit?
Did you
Yes.
roll with disadvantage?
No, I did not. Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
Okay. As its jaws come down, although to your expectation, you were anticipating perhaps its gaping maw, its nostrils mounted on its mouth. Instead of opening in the conventional way, it opens sideways, almost like such, lunging forwards
Ew.
towards you. As it does, the left and right nostril begin to secrete some kind of liquid. As it clasps around you, and this liquid begins to burn and melt around you, protruding from the outside of these nostrils. You take 8 points of piercing damage as its teeth latch onto you, and 2 points of fire damage as this liquid begins to drip onto you as well. At that point, you would realize, I would say here, the tar that is holding this creature in place is seemingly beginning to bubble and is slowly beginning to drip off the exterior hide of this creature. That's the end of its turn. Ariel,
So
it's your turn.
How's everyone's healing looking like? Like how are they very wounded? Anyone? Is anyone
I
very wounded?
lost roughly a quarter of my health.
Ah, you're okay.
12 damage.
Bull just
Yeah.
got nibbled.
Okay, in that case,
I'm
I'm just
okay, though.
gonna.
Riggs, for
Uh,
your information, the tar is burnable,
Mm-hmm.
and at the
It's
start of
heating
its
up.
turn,
It's
yeah,
not coming to
I
direct. It's not coming to any direct contact with flammable substance. It's just and in this room
Yeah.
particularly, there's a dampening on heat as well. So
so
it can
okay,
also make a strength save with this action. But
okay,
I'm gonna move myself over here, where I think I have everyone within view. I'm gonna use the spell attack on the spiritual weapon first.
okay. As you
So
swing
let's
with the
see.
blade,
We swing with the blade.
16.
Is 16
That
enough?
hits. Go ahead
Cool.
and roll damage.
Submit. 10 force.
10 foot. Okay, with the force, as you swing down the blade, you watch as it hits once into this creature's exterior, and almost like a echoing effect, it swings again, dealing more damage than you had perhaps anticipated.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
The previous spiritual weapon was also force. Just letting you know.
You did 9 damage, but what did you do that from?
It was another spiritual weapon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She,
Right.
the damage
Apologies.
was it was Toll the Dead, but the first attack was a spiritual weapon for 12 force, and that 12 force would have been whatever.
I'm trying to see where that spiritual weapon. I can see the Toll the Dead.
It's right after I posted the spiritual weapon, so it's a bit higher up. It's first 12
It's 12
force
force.
because
Right, okay.
I
Right.
pressed the wrong thing.
I missed that. So I'd actually missed that damage completely. So that's
Yeah, so that's
24 and that's
there as
20.
well.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Give me 1 second. I need to do some quick
Cool.
tallying because that's bloodied the creature now.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. So as the blade strikes, you just see as like the top part of this creature is shockwaves ringing throughout it, and it's wriggling almost in a dazed mentality.
Okay, in that case, I'm just gonna do Toll the Dead on it again.
Okay.
Because it doesn't seem to be as big a threat as I initially anticipated. So it's DC 16, 19 necrotic if you
That's a
fail
14.
it.
Okay.
Yeah. 19
Another
necrotic.
19 damage. Okay. As this creature lets out this cry. Previously, it had been aggressive. Now it seems almost sorrowful as it reverberates throughout the cavern. Torben, you're up, unless you have any movement. Ariel.
I'm just gonna get further away.
Okay.
Staying
Fair
away
enough.
from everybody.
Torben, it's your turn.
Keeping up my concentration, I'm probably just gonna bunny hop while shooting twice. Oh, this bloody smoke! It's getting me gun all grimed up. 24.
As you fire, that hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
17 for the first hit.
First hit explodes into the side of the creature. You see large chunks of dark ichor, presumably blood, and something like molten ore jettison and paint the sides of the wall, also painting some of Voldreth.
I will add the 1d6 to that for another 3 damage.
Okay.
And then I will shoot again for another bunny hop. 22.
As you take aim and shoot with the second time, it's at this point, from everyone else's perspective, Torbjorn has disappeared from sight. And the combination of the dust kicked up in this chamber, the natural low-level mist that was here, and now the numerous smoke clouds jettisoned and emitted from his own rifle, there is just this mist where Torbjorn was. And out of that mist, you hear echoing as avalanche fires, and the creature takes the last bullet. As the head explodes on impact of this last round. I need a dexterity saving throw from both Lothar and Voldreth.
Is it dead or do you still need damage?
It had 2 HP before you rolled this. So,
Oh, okay.
Voldreth, you seeing what's happening here, you raise your shield and stand behind it as it takes the brunt of the jettison in your direction. Lothar, you unfortunately not quite ready for such a display of a bunny hopping dwarf, sort of distracted you for a moment over your shoulder as you become encased in an explosion of blood, ichor, and molten ore, just as your friends had been prone to a moment before, as the creature lies motionless, its head completely absent, slowly decorating the sides of the chamber along with your tar trap that is now decaying. as combat comes to a close.
I will keep what remains of the tar trap up for a bit while I rush towards Lothar.
We will say, as we're out of the combat, with the combined efforts, you break him free, but not without parts of you being currently caked in different gem crusts. And you see, Lothar, the color of your metal seems to have impacted. And as you all generally observe, those hit by the breath attack and the explosion, whatever color that was in contact with the crystal seems to have tinted the encrystallization effect. So whatever color of your shield, Voldreth, the crystals have become that color. Whatever color of your apparel and leathers, the crystals have taken that as its source of color. Almost cloning its target. As you are broken free.
I've fought with a few dwarven riflemen in the past few years. Those were the best shots I've ever seen. And he admiratively taps Torbern on the back.
You don't become a mountaineer in a single day.
Well,
Granted, it did help that the beast couldn't move.
yeah, that was also your doing.
Exactly.
This is why I keep saying, you want to bring a dragon down, you bring a bunch of dwarves.
That's a good start.
Just to be sure, Lothar is going to get close to the creature, put a foot on it, and try to stab it in the heart, or whatever he thinks the heart might be in a regular creature down the middle of the chest.
It takes the combined efforts of you and the two dwarves to roll this creature over to see its underbelly. But as you do, cumbersomely, you roll it onto its back, and as you begin to think and ready your blade where this heart would be, the anatomy foreign to you, although Drake-like in mannerism, you would not see a single unexposed part of the underside. All of it seems to be caked in various gemstone colors. And as you sort of peel them off, they're genuine gemstone. Like this could either pass as or is ruby, diamond, gold, silver.
Might as well get harvesting.
I will grab the diamond that I took earlier from the cave, and I will compare it to these growing crystals.
The resemblance is uncanny.
Oh.
You think these are genuine articles, or they just look the part to somebody who's not trained in it?
I'd say they looked apart even to a trained
With
eye.
gemstones, it generally matters how they're cut. If they're cut well, they are very sparkly and beautiful. Roughly,
It also depends on the kind
look
of...
like rocks.
Depends on the gemstone as well.
It does. But we could
Does
take some
anyone have
samples
a
of it
proper
to.
gemstone with them?
Well, might as well harvest what we can. It's just not overly linger. And Serene, Lothar is going to pluck a dagger out and try to scrap whatever gemstones he can out off the creature's belly.
I need you to roll a d20 for me with that dagger.
Okay. As in,
a 1 to 10
do I add any modifiers?
Outcome. 1 to 10 negative outcome. 13. As you cut one of these off, you feel the reverberations. You put all your might behind it, and then and you feel the blade, and you make the conscious decision. You were lucky the blade did not just snap.
This needs a pickaxe.
What about a warhammer?
Everything becomes pebbles. We go
Speaking
into
of which,
business as wedding ring salesmen, and that's it. That's our adventure.
speaking of which, scurrying up and jumping on top of the now overturned creature, Pebble makes his return.
Pebble! I will give a little head nudge to Pebble as he starts to fetch my hand axe.
As he gives you a little rock fist.
Yeah.
This is so cute.
You just hear this as this small pebble is dragging a dwarven hand axe across the floor of the cave.
Oh my god.
That's my boy. Sharpen it while you carry it.
Switches it to be blade down.
No! Why? Pebble? We went over this.
Just shrugs and carries on dragging it to you.
You know, when I was a boy and we'd laugh at other kids for having a pet rock, that's not what I imagined.
While you say that, I will grab the hand axe and I will pick up Pebble and I will start to sharpen my axe with Pebble.
As Pebble's body goes
Oh,
limp and
man.
unanimated as the blade begins to spark before immediately vanishing in the cold mist as the heavy dust of your gunpowder now is settling in the chamber, still having filled most of this chamber.
So, let's harvest what we can and get moving.
Yep.
Well, you can have the gemstones. Naturally. I'm interested in the real treasures.
Don't tell me you're gonna try to eat this.
So I'm
More
gonna
for me?
need you to, if we're gonna say you're gonna spend some time here, it's gonna
I would,
take
yes.
you quite a while, probably an hour or two, to carefully go through the body of this creature, removing its underside or attempting to go through its back to go through the scales to reach the interior treasures that you so desire, Torbran. A warhammer is needed. Some gemstones on the casing are shattered. However, oh, I know I lagged out there. Did anyone miss anything?
Yeah,
Same.
everybody did.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
everybody did.
Discord died.
Everybody froze.
With the assistance of Voldrath's warhammer, gemstones are shattered, sundered. The creature pulverized into a small little pancake in areas. Serene, you can't. It's not Serene. Sir Lothar, you can't help but pull out that small picture of a drake. And this awful diagram, you realize there is a little bit of an uncanny resemblance, but you're not quite sure. This could have been the
Huh.
creature in question. It has drake-like attributes.
How do we prove we killed this?
As you look, as its head is absolutely mashed potatoed with that last rifle shot.
Pause should be the next best thing. Torburn, do you know how to properly harvest these?
Well, you would need is to find the joint, and in theory, you should be able to remove a limb pretty easily at a joint.
Let's remove
Yep.
all 4.
How large are these limbs?
This creature, in its full length, remainder of head to tail, is over 20 feet in length. In terms of its legs, they are low and salamander-like, not lifting it too high, lifting its underbody not too far off the floor of this cavern. Though its claws and this weird substance underneath it provides sticking power to the floor on its legs themselves. So just pulling them off the floor, having now dried quite a bit, is quite a challenge. Though the legs themselves, at least the length of your Probably from you, Torbran, it's at least from 2/3 of your height is the length of these legs.
That's a full leg,
A full
including
leg
so that's
extended.
upper, yeah.
Yes, if you were to remove it at the joint of the
Yeah.
torso, yeah.
Would the lower arm and claw be enough?
Let's get all 4, just in case.
Okay.
I could use the upper arms to make some.
I will
later.
say that each of you could carry one limb. As you
Okay.
pull these off, the weight of these is encumbersome. Not game mechanically, but it weighs a lot.
I have an idea. What if so assuming this is the Drake, we would only get what 500 gold if we brought it dead.
No, they wanted a demon alive. The Drake is, and he looks at the bounty again.
Oh, it was 200 gold, right? Oh, well, is it okay if they just know that it's dead?
Well, I think that's the whole point of a bounty, to kill it.
Then, on top of the 200 gold, we will have some proper meal tonight.
No. Look.
Lothar, you would
Okay,
know the
keep
Adventurers
that.
Guild works on 2
Mhm.
methods of authorization and validation. You either have a trusted guild member witness the deed, or you bring back
Mhm.
irrefutable evidence of the deed. Both
All
would
4
be
legs.
validated to claim the bounty.
Both legs and me saying we did it, although, you know.
You're not quite of that caliber, though you think you could at least have a chance if you brought nothing back to sway it.
Now, we are not going empty-handed. And also, let's harvest everything else that we can. Everything that might be of use to an alchemist, we can sell it back in town.
Is there a... I'll ask her Lothar this. Is there, with a Drake, would there be a distinguishing feature of a Drake? A tusk,
Typically,
type of scale.
people bring back an entire head, because you can find scales, you can find tusks, you can find everything out in the wild if you search hard enough. But he looks at the decapitated corpse. Head's not an option. Paws might be the next best thing.
What about the wings on its tail?
We can try to harvest those as well.
So as you begin to very thoroughly dissect and desiccate the remains of this creature, you can add several parts of drake flesh to your inventory. Several pounds. I will say at least, with the size of this creature, at least 14 rations worth of drake flesh.
14 rations. Cool.
You will roll me a investigation. Sorry, roll me a survival check for me on Torbran. 24. On the knowledge of a drake, you would work on the basis that that breath weapon, there will be some kind of bowel or gizzard that enables that.
Mm-hmm.
And you take your best guess, and after having hammered away and made an exposure into the underside, you go for that gullet, and you pull out a molten gizzard. This is burning to the touch. Whatever you wrap it in begins to slowly warm and take damage or decay or begin to solidify around it, depending on what you use to encase it. The gizzard itself, as you touch it, it leaks out this molten, flowing ore liquid. So you have to hold it in a certain upright position to stop it leaking.
Right, okay.
You can add.
Is it?
I will say you pull one of those wings off. The other one is just sort of like damaged beyond repair from the previous shooting that you've done. Were you going for the tail as well? Because the tail itself is like 5 feet in length.
I think we're
as part of those 14 rashes, I would take like I don't know, like a half feet sort of chunk of the tail
Sure,
as part of me.
you break bits and pieces off. That's fine.
Yeah.
And you
would
can
the
add
Drake have?
over 20 pounds of mixed gems.
We'll be
Whoever's
taking those.
holding the inventory.
I'll take the gems.
That strong pebble, is that now classified? Are we calling them diamonds, or do you want to keep it as a strong? Is it still unknown?
It's
Probably
still unknown.
unknown.
Though
Alright.
you get the impression it was probably once connected to this creature at some point, or it
Yeah.
has been a solidified chunk of what came out of that gizzard of yours.
Yeah, sure.
If these turned out to be actual gemstones, as in proper valuable, might be worth hiring a prospecting team and coming here and picking up more. Maybe even establishing a mining operation once we earn enough.
It's sort of surreal to me that it's very likely that this creature created this whole space. If we could find other creatures like this, you could basically set up a mining operation.
You'd need mountaineers to kill them, though, first. Would it even be a
Mm,
mining
yeah.
operation or a hunting operation at that point?
I think it would be a bit of both. You could sort of make it work.
It's all the same to us mountaineers.
Mhm.
Uh,
Find cave, find monster, put monster in cave, allow cave to become full of gems, remove monster, remove gems. Rinse and repeat.
I
hmm.
will say, I know you've popped it previously, but Serene, you get this once again similar sensation, almost like standing over your party at this point after having spent 2 hours at this creature above you in the air. This strong sense of good and then an overbearing sense of evil, and as you look up, nothing.
Something's watching us. Something we can't see. But it's there. Something, someone. It's there and it's not intervening yet.
Could it be related to the corpse we saw earlier, tied to the stone column?
Possibly. Could be anything. You need a
What if
somebody who properly understands arcane magic to sort that out.
What if those bodies encased in gemstones are still alive or spiritually lingering somehow? Just a random guess.
Well, if they are, Aldrith, you're a priest of some sort, right?
Oh, yeah.
Might be worth it to perform some sort of last rites on the corpses encased back there. At least for our ease of mind.
Well, I can do. I prefer him to be free of the gems, though.
And I'm not sure we'll be able to accomplish that. Not without spending days' time here. And I'm pretty sure this thing might have had another chamber that it used as its lair. Might be worth exploring that as well while we're down here. So we should take all of these, whatever we chopped off it, at least back down to the rope, then explore some more. See if there's anything else worthwhile finding here.
Okay. So I would have to expedite this. You ferry back and forth the remains of which you wish to take with you of this gemstone drake. in terms of looking around the rest of the chamber, you first move as a group, a unit, following the walls, checking for pathways that all lead back to the entrance at some point. Can you please make a group survival check in an attempt to find a hidden chamber that you are perhaps seeking?
I give guidance to Torban. I know his survival is good usually.
So Torban.
I rolled badly, but
Torban.
it would be a 13 then.
Is it? You just rolled a. Oh yeah, okay.
He rolls poorly. It's
I
fine.
rolled a
Sorry, it was the survival he rolled earlier that I was looking at. Okay, so we have a 17, a 19, a 10, and a 13. Okay. I will say at this point, you get this nagging feeling as you can see sort of like a fresher, decaying sort of pool, this slime, to what you realize you saw on the walls. This trace of liquid, of gold, this transference of this creature dragging its weight along the floor. As you've been following various paths, the mist seemingly remaining in that large, vast chasm, not entering into this cave. But you're unable to ascertain the location of anything. The only thing you do rule out is it is not at ground height. And even searching the chamber walls, you don't successfully find an opening that you're hoping for, though you do not know for certain as to whether or not you've adequately searched these ruins.
While we are searching, I would like to cast Goodberry Rock Salt Sweets to see if I can find some rock salt sweets while we're spelunking.
Sure. More
Would make
towards
me
the
find.
entrance from whence you entered,
Mm-hmm.
you do find a few bits of what look like chalk, and then you realize, smash it, refine it a little bit. There it is, the smell you were looking for.
I will munch them up.
You found wrong
I'll-
rock candy?
You found dwarven
Yeah.
rock candy.
Dwarven rock candy.
It's almost like he's got a
I
smell
will-
sense for it.
I
Oh,
will. I will
nice.
chop the chunk. I will chop it up in 10 chunks, and I will eat 7 of them to heal myself for 7 hit points.
And so, after having spent 4 hours
We could
in this,
also do a short rest since we spent all this time
I was
doing
going to say,
various things.
you can mark off a short rest whilst you had done this carving of a creature, this investigation of the cave. You've spent half a day in here effectively. You have traversed up this hill. So from your day, it took you towards the mid-afternoon to find the path. A couple of hours to ascend. The rest of the daylight in this cave, and if you wish to climb your way out, we will work on the rope still being in place. We can do the athletics checks, or we can say that the group carefully exits out of this cave to find no mist, to find no sunlight, to find the moon slowly rising on the horizon. As we will call it for tonight's episode.
Okay.
Cool.